we're doing weekly lunch clubs. So we're meeting students on campus, we're getting to know them, hearing their stories, inviting them into our lives, to watch them see us walk with Jesus, right? And there's one thing we like to say in Young Life: we like to earn the right to share Jesus with students. So we get to know them, we build real relationships, right? And then we walk with them until the gospel becomes the answer to the questions that they're asking. So we meet weekly on campus. We do after school clubs, discipleship groups, and then we take kids in the summer to life-changing summer camps.
Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast, presented to you by Sac Life TV.
Hi, this is Topo Padilla, and I want to thank my family at Greg Padilla Bail Bonds for sponsoring the Powerhouse Podcast. We are always involved in the community, so if you ever find yourself in need of calling a bail bonds, you can call us at 446-BOND or find us at padillabailbonds.com. Sac Life TV and the Powerhouse Podcast want to thank Mosley Collins for his unwavering support of our podcast that keeps people informed. If you ever need legal help, call Mosley Collins Law at 444-4444. That's all fours for legal help. Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast. My name is Topo Padilla, your host. And today we've got an exciting guest that we're going to talk about something that affects our youth. And in these days, more than ever, we really need that help. Today we're going to be talking with Bear Harrichan, who is from Young Life. And Bear is from the Davis chapter of Young Life. Young Life is an international nonprofit that has been working with children since 1941. Young Life leaders meet kids where they're at, and they share their lives and their story with Jesus. So, Bear, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on the show.
Tell us a little bit more about Young Life.
Yeah, so like you said, Young Life's been around since 1941, started in Gainesville, Texas, by a man named Jim Rayburn. And Jim Rayburn used to meet with high school students, and now we're over in 100 countries. We're serving millions of students, and we're in many states all around the country right now.
So Rayburn, I know that name from Texas. Is that the Rayburn family?
Yeah, Jim Rayburn.
Wow. Okay, I did not know that. Well, how did you get involved with Young Life? Yeah,
well, actually, I didn't grow up in the church, and in 2017, I actually radically got saved and encountered Jesus Christ. But prior to that, I had no involvement with the church at all. And about a year ago, I was just looking for jobs, and I found Young Life online. I had no Young Life experience. I had no experience in ministry, but it was, I'd like to say it was by divine intervention. God just really opened the position for me. I went through the process, and here I am. Yeah, it was kind of really God's doing.
So digressing back, we talked about you. You went to Davis High. You're a young man from Davis. I want to get back and further than that, where you're from.
Yeah.
And you came here as a young child.
Yeah. I moved to actually Davis, California in the middle of 5th grade and went to elementary school there, junior high, and Davis High School, which is where I actually do ministry right now. And so, like I said, I didn't grow up in the church, but now I get to go back home to Davis and serve students, introducing them to Jesus. I've lived life without Jesus. Now I've lived life with Jesus, and it's such an honor to be able to go back, stand in the gap for students, and help them encounter Jesus in such a tangible way.
Is there an affiliation with certain churches, or is it through any Christian church?
Yeah, so Young Life is an ecumenical organization. So we're not affiliated with any one church, which is actually the unique concept about us, right? We can work with any different type of churches in the community. So we're not affiliated with one certain church.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've known about Young Life since I was a young man and had friends that went through it. And I did know that, in fact, they help people make a connection with Jesus. So that's special. So you're from the chapter that is in Davis.
Correct.
And what is it specifically unique about Davis that you guys serve?
Yeah, well, right now, we started at the local high school, Davis Senior High, and we're doing weekly lunch clubs. So we're meeting students on campus, we're getting to know them, hearing their stories, inviting them into our lives, to watch them see us walk with Jesus, right? And there's one thing we like to say in Young Life: we like to earn the right to share Jesus with students. So we get to know them, we build real relationships, right? And then we walk with them until the gospel becomes the answer to the questions that they're asking. So we meet weekly on campus. We do after school clubs, discipleship groups. We take kids in the summer to life-changing summer camps.
Really? I'm going to say this, and some might take it wrong, but a lot of times kids in their younger years, they may not want to get involved in things like this. I remember I grew up in the Catholic, they had the Catholic groups, the kids, and everybody thought, well, I'm playing baseball, I'm playing soccer, I don't have time for that. They don't conflict with each other, what you guys do in those sports, because I'm sure you guys have people that play all sorts of sports, they're cheerleaders, they do whatever. Correct?
Yeah, well, that's a great point because Davis specifically is such a highly driven academic place. It's all about sports. It's all about extracurricular activities and setting students up for, a competitive college admission. So Davis, more than other places, is exactly like that. But our philosophy is that if parents want students to be, academically driven, if they want them to succeed academically in sports and any other facet of their life, then putting a relationship with God first is ultimately going to help drive everything else up in their life, and at the same time help them protect their soul and give them a foundation of faith that will carry them through life.
And kind of where I was going to go with that, and I remember when I was young, and I thought, my friends are all involved in these church organizations like that consumed all their time, and they didn't have time for regular everyday life, and you guys are part of that, and quite frankly, the young man or the young lady who's going out for a sport and they don't have God in their life. This is not meant to be some Lord Almighty ministry, but they're doing it basically alone with themselves, their mind, body, and soul. If you can get to those kids where they're in that really peak time of struggle, trying to compete for something, it's only going to help them.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, that's the point, right? We want to be able to walk with students and give them an ability to have something sustainable in their life that's going to ultimately increase them in all the other areas of their life. And so, that's why Young Life's so unique, because we're not a church and we don't wait for kids to come to us. We actually go to them. So we go into their spaces, right? We take time to get to know them and build real relationships. And like I said, we get to know their lives, right? We invite them into our lives and we give them a tangible experience of what Jesus looks like, right? And so that helps them to see in a low pressure environment, right? We're not asking them to pray. We're not asking them to read the Bible. We're simply showing them who Jesus is through our life, right? We're being the hands and feet of Jesus in their lives.
I'm going to say something that could be offensive. I'm not trying to turn people into Bible thumpers. That Bible thumper was a big term when I grew up, and it could have been used derogatory, but it really and truly, you're teaching them. And then however far somebody wants to take their relationship with God and Jesus, they can. And so I want to make that clear. I know we're all on the same page, right?
Yeah.
And once you have that situation in life and you realize what Jesus does for you, what our good Lord has done for you to help you overcome a bad situation, that's when you welcome him in more and more and more. And so I'm grateful to hear that, because I hope the people watching and listening understand that, this is about just introducing and then carrying it on. And when the youth wants to have more of Jesus in their life and our good Lord, they can, because today more than ever, these children are up against a lot of barriers, and the worst thing they're up against are these things right here. The technology, computers, social media, the damage it is causing not only our children, but adults like me. When you get addicted to watching the surreality of other people's lives, it can be healthy, but it can be not healthy. So I wish we had more on social media, more about Jesus and Young Life and stuff like that, rather than all this other rhetoric.
Yeah, and I mean, Young Life's mission at its core is to introduce adolescents to Jesus and help them grow in their faith, right? And so we offer these clubs, we offer discipleship groups, we offer camping experiences, right? To, like you said, meet kids where they are and wait for them to respond to the gospel, right? So when they want to make those next steps, when they want to make that decision to maybe follow Jesus, or they have questions about what that looks like, we're there to help them walk through that. And so as a student myself, when I was at Davis High School, I had no faith faith, and I wasn't walking with God at all. And I knew the darkness that I was in. Now that I can look back and see it, and so to be able to go back to my old high school and walk with students and be there for them is such an honoring experience for me, because in a way I get to reclaim all that was lost in my life by serving these students now.
So I got to ask you.
Yeah.
There's Young Life where you were from, your home country, I take it?
Yeah, I'm not sure in Guyana if there's any Young Life, but I know that there's Young Life in many other countries. There's Young Life in Africa. There's Young Life in Asia. A lot of parts of South America, like Chile and Peru. And actually, Young Life serves a lot of different types of ministries. We do Young Life, which is high school ministry. We do Wildlife, which is junior high. We do Capernaum, which is disabled students. We do Young Lives, which is teen moms and teen parents. And then we do, actually, there's a new one in our region right here in Northern California, and it's called Young Life 1. And so we're actually in the foster system, in the juvenile system, and we're doing work through there too.
Wow. Now you're going to get somewhere where we need to go.
Yeah.
The foster system. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds.
Sure.
And then the kids that are in trouble, that are in juvenile hall, that maybe don't have that home life, that foundation. That's where you and an organization like Young Life could have significant impact. Are you guys embedded in there, or are they accepting of that in those systems?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just started it probably last August of 2025. But yeah, we're in the juvenile centers. We're working with foster kids, and we have a team that specializes, that goes in there, that's trained to do it, to reach those kids that are at risk. That's
great, because one of the things in my world that I live in as a bail bondsman, live with people in they're in a lot of turmoil in their life, and most often it's substance abuse. And when you can replace a substance with a higher power, and whether that is Jesus, our good Lord Savior, or if it's another higher power, I don't care what it is, if you can replace that substance, that addiction, with that higher power, you will overcome. And that's why organizations like Teen Challenge are very successful. One of the most successful substance abuse programs that exists, because they replace that addiction with Jesus. So I really applaud what you're doing, and I'm learning so much just right here talking to you. So in Davis, you obviously have the high school, and it's a great high school. And a shout out to Mr. Areola, he was the baseball coach there. Oh, yeah. He and I went nose to nose and toes to toes on a baseball field as an umpire. I look at what people like him, the impact he had there in that Davis community. How was it working with Davis and then the college? How do you guys interact with them? Yeah, great question. So kind of our goal is, the concept of Young Life is to reach the kids that are the most disinterested, right? So we're reaching students that would otherwise never walk into a church door, right? And we're going into their spaces. And so what we're doing at Davis High School right now is we're doing lunch clubs, right, on campus every Thursday. We're doing after school clubs, and then we're just meeting kids going to places that they frequent. And so we're able to do that through, we have a bunch of volunteer leaders, which we engage with the UC Davis campus. We have a lot of community people that help us to make networking opportunities. And then we just have a lot of people that are sewing into the ministry financially, right? Because anything ministry wise needs finances, right? We could have the best team, we could have the as many kids coming, but if we don't have that sustainability factor, then we're really limited on that front. So on that note, and you may have said it, but I want to make it clear. Sure. Where you guys go to them to meet? Correct. And are you telling me the schools are okay with Young Life coming in and meeting there on their campus? Yeah, well, we're pretty upfront and clear about what our intentions are. And really what we want to do is make good students great, right? We want to offer them an ability to engage with their character, their integrity, and their leadership skills, right? And so we're not there just trying to poach students. We're there to really be a resource for them, be a positive influence on campus, and really serve the school beyond Young Life. So a lot of the faculty and the campus itself that we serve on now, they really do appreciate our presence on campus. And yeah, we've been getting more and more access as we're engaging with more and more students on campus every day. That's great to hear, because in today's world, I could see and I probably shouldn't say this because they'll take me up on it, but somebody, coming along going, no, you keep these, this organization off our schools. No, what we need is more organization like this in our school. And so I am grateful to hear that. Do you guys have a home base, though, in Davis, for instance? Is there a building you guys work out of?
We don't currently have a building, no. We're actually a brand new ministry. We just started about 6 months ago. So we're still in the building phase, we're really getting that foundation set up. But so, yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit. The goal with Young Life in Davis is eventually to branch out into the junior highs. And then my general area that I cover is Yolo County. So I'm eventually going to be going into Woodland, into West Sacramento, Solano County as well, which includes Dixon, Vacaville, and the UC Davis campus. So there's quite a long-term plan there, but we're starting with the Davis High School.
Well, this is an appeal to anybody that owns an office building in Davis, and they got some extra office space. Maybe Bear could have a desk in their office, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt. And there's a lot of people with a lot of empty space.
Sure.
So maybe that appeal will get out there and somebody will hear this. But that's fantastic to hear. You guys are going to branch out and do that. I've got a lot of love for Yolo County. I've got a lot of friends that are from there and work there. So tell us a story or two about the impact you've had. I mean, I think I've gotten your impact you've had, but some impact you may have had with some other students.
Yeah. I mean, there's one that comes to mind particularly. Not too long ago, about a month or two ago, every time we do lunch clubs on Thursday, right, we've kind of started a tradition where we'll go outside right before we start and see if there's any students lingering around that we can invite in. So in this particular day, I went outside, and there was this female student who was just sitting down outside by herself. And so I asked her, I said, hey, do you want to come inside? We're doing club in here today. Do you want to come join us? She got up immediately, and she's like, what club is it? And I said, oh, it's Young Life. We're just hanging out. We're playing some games. We got some food, and then we talk about Jesus. And so at that point, I was kind of ready for a little bit of resistance, right? But man, she just said, well, I'm not religious. Is it okay that I come? And I said, of course, come on in. You don't have to believe in anything. We just want to hang out with you and get to know you. And so she came in. We started playing games. She was engaged, right? And right before I gave the talk about Jesus at the end of club, I asked if anybody had any questions, and she raised her hand and said, yeah, I got one question. Do you guys meet in here every Thursday? And so I said, yeah. And so as I was giving the talk about Jesus, I was making eye contact with her, and I could see that she was paying attention. She's come back ever since. And we started to get to know her. She's opening up to us, hearing the gospel preached every week. And, I could talk about more stories like that with 4 basketball boys coming in.
Keep going.
Yeah. Another week we met 4 basketball boys coming in. We just invited them in. They came in and they've been coming back ever since. One of the students even told me that day, man, thank you for inviting me. I had a good time and I'll be back. And just hearing those things and just seeing the students come back, man, it makes everything so worth it. Right. And, just to be able to make an impact on campus like that is unbelievable. And one thing God's been showing me through all of it is just to extend the invitation. So many students are desperate and hungry for something real to believe in, and we have the answer. And the answer is Jesus. And they're waiting for something to believe in.
Our youth needs it.
Yeah.
The mental, and I don't like to use the word mental illness because it gets way overused, but the turmoil that is going on with our youth, and even really in getting that 17, 18, 19, and 20-year-old ages, the turmoil that is going on, therapists struggle to make change when it comes to, I hate using the word anxiety all the time, but worry, concern, nervousness. That's what I call a lot of those things. But boy, they're just quick to diagnose you. Well, you've got anxiety and here's some pills and that's going to help you. No. What's going to help you, in my mind, is to substitute those worrying thoughts, those anxious thoughts, all that stuff with a higher power.
Exactly.
And am I right on the path there where you go?
Yeah, precisely. I mean, that's what we believe the answer is, and we see it happen, right? We engage with students, right, about the Bible. We give them opportunities to respond, right? And they're asking, simply what we do is have big conversations about simple ideas. Right. And so we're presenting the gospel in a relevant way, in a relational way. Right. Young Life is an incarnational ministry. Right. So we go where students are. We build relationships with them, and we earn the right to share Jesus with them. Right. We don't pressure them, but we're there when they want to talk about it. And we simply just show up in their lives, right? We go to games, right? We invite them to do stuff with us. We just sit and listen to their stories, right? We try to get an inside view of how they're living and what it looks like at home, right? Because we just want to genuinely get to know them. And one thing we realize is that every kid that's in our care, right, if we're being realistic, is not going to accept Jesus. But the goal is that when they look back at their life, that they can see that when I was 16, 17 years old, somebody cared about me and somebody showed me who Jesus was, right? And whatever God does with that throughout their life is between them and God. But when they're with us, we want them to know that we love them, we care about them, we see them, right? And that they have purpose in their life.
Bear, do you know much about gangs?
Somewhat. Probably not as much.
Do you know why gangs are so successful?
Because of the communal aspect of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you do know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times are these, the young men specifically, for the most part, are looking for, maybe they don't have a mom and dad at home. Maybe they only have a mom.
Yeah.
Maybe they only have a dad. They have a broken home. And I don't want to use broken homes as an excuse to be bad. I mean, my father, didn't have the greatest home life, and dad was not always home. And he didn't let that define him. And gangs are successful because they get somebody that is lost, and they bring them in, and they provide that familia. They provide that comfort and love.
Exactly.
This is the gang that people could look to join.
Yeah.
And I want to say then maybe that could have an impact at home. Maybe that mom and dad who are not providing the greatest home life for this young man or woman, maybe they would open their eyes. So have you ever had that impact and changed a family that may be struggling?
Yeah, and that's one of the things we believe in, is that when we help a student, right, a young person, we're not only ministering to that one person, but we're ministering to a family. So, I've seen, heard stories, right, about people that have been within Young Life for 30, 40, 50 years who have been walking, who actually gave their life to Jesus in Young Life, and they ended up bringing their own students, right? And then now there's stories and photos of them all growing up together, serving God together, bringing their own students. And that's when I really understood, like, wow, this Young Life thing it really works, right? It has the generational impact, and we're seeing families change, we're seeing communities change, we're seeing people live into their purpose and their destiny that God has for them. So yeah, I do see the familial connection, right, and the impact that way.
So I'm just going to give you I'm a big time marketing guy.
Okay.
I think your marketing efforts need to be aimed at, signs that say, are you struggling with anxiety? I hate to use the word, but stress, concern, constantly anxious, and hang those signs, come to Young Life.
Yeah.
We can help you, because really and truly, and I got to say, man, it's especially prevalent in young girls. And why, I don't know, because I could tell you, and I think on social media, man,
Yeah.
people can be mean. Yeah. They can be mean. So
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I think that's something you want to do. I see this billboards all the time that said stressed, and then in little baby letters it says, 1-800-CALL-JESUS or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
why don't you have 1-800-CALL-JESUS in big letters?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to hide?
Sure.
I really think that's somewhere you could go with this, because that's who you need to get. You need to get those kids that are stressed out and just looking for that hug.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited. We had a whole list of questions to go down, and I think we've gotten to 3 of them, but that's the beauty of talking to somebody like you who lives this and breathes this, and then me, somebody who believes in it right along with you. So
Awesome.
How are you financially supported? How does Young Life get along and run as it does?
Yeah, well, every local ministry area, I mean, Davis is one of those, is run completely by community support, right? And so we network with families in Davis. We get to know them. We share the vision, right? And we invite them into the mission. And so yeah, everything is community supported. Everything is fundraised. My salary is fundraised. All the operations are fundraised, and that's how it is throughout the entire organization. And so yeah, it's a really a hands-on approach, right? We need everybody to help carry the load. And if everyone was just to give 1% of themselves, just imagine what God could do with that 1%. And so, just like the saying goes, many hands make for light work, right? And so that's our philosophy. That's our approach, is that, we know what we're doing and it's of value to our community. And so we share that to them and say, hey, one student coming to Jesus is going to make this community better. Right. And so we would love to invite you into supporting the mission and building a sustainable foundation to serve generations.
So do you have fundraisers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about a fundraiser or two and how they work and what you do.
Yeah. So I'm probably the main fundraiser, right? I network with people in the community. I have a committee of volunteer community members who volunteer to serve and help me kind of with the initiatives of the ministry and to fundraise also as a collective. But yeah, to do that, we also host banquets. We do kind of interest nights. And we really just, it's just like we serve students and make relationships with them, we see our donors as a relationship too, right? So it's a ministry within a ministry, right? We build relationships with donors. We update them with what's going on. And so we're just as much involved with doing adult ministry as we are with doing student ministry.
So when is your next fundraiser?
We don't have it planned right now, but we do have an interest night coming up in April. We're just looking to engage with more of the community as a new ministry and get the word out, bring awareness. And actually, one thing we've been doing is working with the local churches. So they're a big supporter of what we do, and because we're not affiliated with any one church, it gives us the opportunity to work with all of them.
I was going to say, there's not a church, within the. I don't even want to say just Christianity, really all of them. I mean, it's a higher power, and I don't want to go, to certain places, but
sure.
They should all be embracing this,
yeah.
And that it could bring the kids to that church or this church or that church.
Yeah.
But you guys are the conduit to do that. So Precisely. This event in April, I mean, do you have the details on it?
It's going to be April 25th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. At a location to be announced in Davis.
And where can people find information about your chapter of Young Life?
Yeah, you can look on our Instagram at 530 Young Life, or just go on the Young Life website and look up our Davis chapter. Yeah.
So it's 530 Young Life.
Yeah, that's our Instagram that we use to communicate with kids and kind of just get out communication about what we're doing.
And you have Facebook?
We don't have Facebook. We're just on. Kids are using Instagram, so we're on Instagram.
What about people my age, man? I don't even know Instagram, InstaChat, or whatever it is. And TikTok.
We're not on TikTok yet, but
maybe you shouldn't either.
Yeah.
No, that is great, and I just tell you, I've learned a lot. I knew about Young Life, as I said, when I was younger, but didn't understand it until I did some research on you and this, and I was like, man, this is a great organization. And again, today our youth can use it more than ever. So I really applaud you for what you are doing. And, I hope, more people will get involved financially and support you. Is there anything else you want to say in closing?
Yeah, I mean, whoever's listening, anyone listening today, if you value, if you love kids and you love Jesus and you think, young people today need good mentors, they need good role models, then, praying for us is definitely the most important thing. Supporting us financially is the next best thing. And then being a volunteer leader with your time, that's something that would really help us out. So if you value those things, those are the best ways to get involved.
So you do need volunteers and leaders.
Correct.
And if, and people who retire, they need something to do. It doesn't matter what age they are, right?
No.
They can come. Need them. Everybody can be involved.
Yep.
Well, Bear, it's been a pleasure, man. I'm hoping for you, and I definitely, when you're going to have your next banquet, I want us to be involved. I want to be there. You got your first donor right here in me.
Great.
I love what you're doing. So
thank you, sir.
Well, this has been a very special session here at the Powerhouse Podcast. I'm extremely honored to have such a bright young man who's out here trying to make a difference in this world. And as I said, I hate to keep beating that horse, but we need it now more than ever. We really have to help these kids. So with that, thank you for joining us on the Powerhouse Podcast, and we'll see you the next time. Hi, this is Topo Padilla, and I want to thank my family at Greg Padilla Bail Bonds for sponsoring the Powerhouse Podcast. We are always involved in the community. So if you ever find yourself in need of calling a bail bonds, you can call us at 446-BOND or find us at PadillaBailBonds.com. SAC Life TV and the Powerhouse Podcast want to thank Mosley Collins for his unwavering support of our podcast that keeps people informed. If you ever need legal help, call Mosley Collins Law at 444-4444. That's all fours for legal help. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Powerhouse Podcast, where we bring you fair and balanced discussions on the issues shaping our community. We welcome your input, opposing viewpoints, and guest recommendations because every voice matters. Have a topic or a guest in mind? Email us at php@saclife.tv.